This is Lawrence Ball here, and I'm interviewing Jeroen Van Veen in his home in Culemborg in the Netherlands. And I first of all would like to ask you, Jeroen, how your approach to music was formed, both as a composer and as a pianist in the early days.
Well, it started like normally if you play the piano in your childhood. Both my parents were in music. My mother is still a music teacher, piano teacher. So there was always music around the house, and both me and my brother and my older brother, we all three played the piano. Two of us, Martin and me, went into music professionally, and the third one is still playing piano, but on an amateur level. So there was always much music around in the house, and we learned to I started to play the piano when I was 7 years old, and I always felt attractive to the music, and especially when my mom was practicing and I was lying down under her piano. I really felt this huge vibrations, and the way how the music came into your body on a different way. That's how I later invented the so-called lie-down concerts, lichtconcert, which really does, lying down really does something with the human body, how the music comes to you and really gets into your head and into your brain, into your whole system, and you're becoming one with the music. But go back to my childhood, I was listening to of course every night I was listening to the radio a lot. Heard many compositions. I really was into music at a very young age already, starting joining piano competitions, competing, this kind of stuff. I wasn't into composing at a young age, but when I was 13 years old, I heard the Rite of Spring, the Sacre du Printemps by Stravinsky for the first time in my life. It was on a radio broadcast for 4 pianos, and I was so amazed by this music. It really blew my mind. It was something really extraordinary. The way how it started is so simple, and then when the chords came in, I was like, wow, this huge energy you felt streaming, and the music was not available. The score for the Rite of Spring, the 4-hand version, was available, was very expensive. We couldn't afford it back then. So me and my brother, we sat down, and that was our first, and we really wrote down the whole thing. That was our first big, and maybe the best lesson we ever had in solfège and harmonics. And later on, for instance, what we also did, we wrote down the 4th piano concerto by Rachmaninoff, because we couldn't afford to pay to buy a score back then. And later on, of course, when we were 20, we bought a score and we looked, and we really hardly made any mistakes. It was unbelievable what we did. Teenagers, spending not the time playing computer games or watching television or whatever, or playing football outside. No, we were inside listening to music and write it down. So that was basically my my training, how to write down music, how to put something on paper that you heard on the radio. And of course, in the meantime, I kept on playing and played many different styles. I remember when I was 16, I was conducting a choir at the church, a children's choir. 16 years old. I really had to send home the girls who didn't obey my instructions. So I got angry parents. Remember, 16 years old. I did at that time I was playing in a pop band, percussion, the piano part in the pop band and making the arrangements for the bands, stuff like that. So I have seen, I think at a young age, very much of the complete musicianship, the craftsmanship of a musician.